That. So back to our introductory session. So welcome to today's Global Leadership Masterclass. The value we are offering today is how we'll be developing our mindsets, character, and competence for global impacts. And is an online event, is today, and it has started already. So today is a masterclass for anyone who is building or preparing to build. A leadership identity is needed at any stage. So if you're a high school leaver, if your aunties and uncles here, if your parents here, please, I implore that you can share the link with your cousins, your nieces, your sons, your daughters, because the value we are gaining is an identity that should be reflected on a global stage. And the global standard for access to those platforms starts from 18 to 25. So we have global youth leadership platform for leaders, for aspiring leaders, for rising leaders. That's the age frame for applying to those opportunities stops at 25. So if you have anyone who is 16, 15, that's I think SS2, SS3, share this link with them, invite them. Have building for all of these categories. It's important to know that leadership begins long before the title and long before global opportunity. It starts from your local space. So if you're currently working with a national organization like Nigeria, if you are working or in a workforce for a Nigerian employer, you will not say that that identity will come up when you start transiting or when you transit to global audience. The identity starts with your local employer. And when anything I'm saying now is something I have worked out, it has been my reality. So I'm not saying what they just say. I'm not saying inspirational messages. I'm saying my reality. Moving forward, this event is sponsored and organized by two platforms, I and You Managing Consulting, a management tech community that is into managing workforce for global audience. And just to put it out there, by 2029, which is 3 years from now, all of the businesses will be aligning to fit smaller teams. In other words, what COVID did will happen multiplied by 2 or 10, because everybody are outsourcing most of their workflows to AI. So it is the career professionals who align their current skills. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether you have 15 years of experience, 13 years of experience, 14 years of experience, start seeing how you can align it to the AI tool that is aligned to your career needs, so that as you progress, you have acquired the AI human to function in your niche, and you're not part of the people your company will be reading out, which is one of what you will learn how to interact with those global audience. Building Sound Minds is the second platform that is sponsoring this event, and we aim on transforming identity that enables sustainable impact and legacy from no matter where you are. The leadership, why this masterclass? So leadership comes before the title. Some of us are still deciding what path to take. Some of us on this call are still trying to gain clarity and direction. Some of us are in the classroom. Those are for high school students. Some of us are managing a team, some of us are team leads, some of us own a business, and whatever we are doing, there's one common thing: leadership begins long before the title. So we spend years developing degrees, certification, and technical skills, yet very few intentionally develop their leadership identity. Global leadership isn't about working internationally. It's important to note that if you don't have the mindset, if you don't have the character and competence, wherever you are leading, it's not going to yield the results. So people think just getting the offer is the solution, but the character, the identity, the competence that sustain those opportunity is what we are trying to learn here today. Today's objective is building a leadership identity capable of managing people, managing systems and organization to global standard. No matter your starting point, your presence here means you're learning the identity skills, the character skills, the behavioral skills to position yourself on those platforms. So our speaker is Mrs. Comfort Upong, and she's already on the call. She's a leader, she's an educator, and she's a founder of multiple group of schools: Greater Scholars International School and Starways College. So if you're around the environment of Lekki, Lagos, I would share a contact for you to read up about her facilities, her organization, and the impacts they are giving from age 3 or age 2 to age 16. So she has facilities that is offering value to preschool graders, and high schoolers. Then the community impact she has made is she has been a strategic leader. She's the host of Joy City Empowerment Foundation, where she has been serving on that platform for over 20 years. On that platform, scholarship has been given, business forum opportunities for learning has been done, literacy and outreach program, even medical services has been done, impacted on her community, on the community she has built around her over these years. She's a spiritual leader. She's an ordained pastor at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, and she's leading the children and teens department, where she's taking her expertise from her career niche and impacting it on the community around her, and even in her spiritual walk with God. She's a family human, she's a mother, she's a wife, and she's a grandmom. She's happily married to engineer Isang Upong and blessed with 3 children and a son-in-law. I'm Ivy, and I'll be your moderator and discussant for today's masterclass. I lead in INU Management Consulting, which is a firm that is building the next global workforce for a global audience. I have a foundation where I work with teams on learning and learning enablement, basically trying to see how people's mindsets, identity, and their life experience can be aligned to truths and not negativity and not deception. For today, my role is moderating this session and drawing out the speaker's insights through a guided conversation. So it's not going to be like an interview. So today's 2 hours has started. We are 11 minutes into the event. We've done the welcoming and opening remark. We've done the why the masterclass, and it is time for the speaker's expository session, and we will be hearing from Mrs. Upong. So everyone join me. Welcome my last Nigerian employee, a leader, an impactor, an educationist, and a value offering personnel. Thank you so much. Ma, you can go on from here. You're
Good morning,
okay, we can hear you.
all. You can hear me now. Good morning, and thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for belonging to a community of like minds, who are people who are eager to grow, eager to learn, and eager to fulfill purpose. I'm very proud of what Ivy is doing, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm always very proud of Ivy. She's a very great lady. She's very focused, intelligent, and it's beautiful to see the impact that she's already making in the world. So I'm going to turn off my video because I'm at camp and the network is, very epileptic. I believe that if the video is turned off, it will help us operate better and will give the voice more clarity. So intermittently, I'll try to put it on, later on. But I think I want to run my session with the video turned off. So thank you very much. God bless you all. So this morning we're looking at developing the mindset. I hope that's okay. Yeah. Let me have someone. Okay, you can hear me. You can all hear me. Okay, that's fantastic. So this morning we are looking at developing the mindset, character, and competence for global impact. Development is not accidental, it's intentional. Development is intentional. If we are going to have to operate, because we are, the world is now a global village, right? We must be deliberate in growing in some critical areas, which we are going to examine this morning. The first area is the mindset shift, a mindset shift. We must develop the global mindset. But let's start with defining what global means. The world today is no longer distant. When we think of global, we might be thinking of visa, airports, passports. But the world is no longer that distant. The world is in your hands right now through technology, through influence and connectivity. We are all part of a global village. You may be physically in one location, but your influence can reach across continents. On this platform here, I believe that a few of us may be at Abuja, right? Maybe you are in Abuja, and some are outside Abuja, right? It would be nice if you can just text where you are located. I am located in Lagos, and I could have been in any part of the world. So that's to show you that since COVID, things have really changed drastically. So someone else is in Lagos too. That's nice. Abuja and Bayelsa. Fantastic. Right? Bini, you see, it's a global village already. You are here I'm here at Mowe Redemption Camp, and then we are talking with people all over the world, all over Nigeria. And, a few years ago, I had the privilege of receiving an award in Houston, Texas. What stood out for me was that people gathered in a room thousands of miles away to deliberate on that award. In that room were two individuals among the rest of the team who had encountered me and my work at different times and on different platforms. When I was nominated for the award, they had some meaningful and positive things to say about me. As a result, I got the award. I couldn't even travel because I lost my passport at that point in time. My daughter, went ahead to pick the award for me. But that experience changed my thinking. Global impact is no longer about traveling. It's about value. It's about visibility, and it's about voice. Many Nigerians today are working for global organizations, earning in foreign currencies, and influencing industries across borders without relocating, whether it's in the ministry, in education, in fashion, in food, in writing, in business, sports. The opportunity for global relevance is very real. Now, this means that even when you are engaged with local content, whether it's traditional wares, whether it's African or Nigerian food, music, craft, it's important that we think global. We should make our work presentable, not just to the standards of the people around us, but the standards of the people, the highest standards, I would say, of the people around the world. The work I do through Joy City Empowerment Foundation, with working with people, largely people, underserved communities, many of them elders, widows, not even online. Yet that same work led to me receiving an honorary doctorate degree from a seminary in the United States of America. Why? Because impact travels where there is value, where there is voice, and where there is consistency. Another mindset set shift I'd like us to have this moment is a mindset that evolves. A mindset that evolves. In other words, we must be progressive. But I know that many of us may not be, a few of us may not be Christians on the platform like this. But I would like to anchor um, my talk this morning on the book of Genesis. I know that if you're not a Christian, you'll be a Muslim, but all of us know at Abraham, and that Abraham was a great man. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 4. Genesis 12, verse 1 to 4. If someone can post it on the platform in the Amplified Bible version, that would be fantastic. If anybody can take that out and just post on the platform for those who are not Christians. The Lord had said to Abraham, go from your country, your people, and your father's house to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. And you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. And whoever curses you will I curse. And all the people on earth will be blessed through you. So Abraham went as the Lord had told him. And this is Masterclass. But this is also apt for what I want to talk about. The first instruction you see there is movement. God said to Abraham, move. To be progressive is to move forward, is to grow, is to improve, to evolve, instead of remaining stagnant. Leave your country, your kindred, your father's house. It's not only about like Japa, as we know it today. It means leave your comfort zone. Leave your comfort zone. It's time to question limiting beliefs. It's time to question, to think about how you are thinking. How did I come upon this belief? Why do I think this way? Is this thinking outdated? Is this thinking peculiar to people in my community? Is this how people in other countries are thinking? Why are they thinking differently? To develop a global mindset, you must be willing to learn and unlearn. You must be willing to embrace new perspectives, to engage unfamiliar ideas, to adapt to change. The world is changing very rapidly. If you refuse to grow and change, we'll be left behind. To be progressive is not optional. You must be a lifelong learner. You must be open to the idea of questioning. You must be open to the idea of finding out what obtains in this aspect of life, what obtains globally. How do people behave globally? Why do they behave that way? Why do we behave this way? Why do we behave this way? And what can I change? Because we don't want to change the things that we are doing well, right? There's no point to throw away the things that are working. But instead, we can adopt the things that are, are good from other culture. But if you're not open-minded, if you're not progressive, if you are stagnant, you will not be able to do that. So a progressive mindset is very important if you are going to function in the global space. The next section we will look at is character and values. Character and values. This is about developing character, a great character, and having the values that will make people want to be around you. Again, I refer back to that Genesis verses 2 and 3, Genesis 12, verse 2 and 3. And thou shalt be a blessing, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Let that sink in. It's challenging enough to bless one family. Imagine the responsibility of being commanded to bless all families. God did not just promise to bless Abraham, he commanded him to be a blessing. This is what I call a blesser mindset. It's character. While many people are focused on what they can receive, their life is all about me, minding my own business. Global impact flows from what you consistently give. Are we together? Okay, let someone
Yes, please.
tell them on the
Yes,
chat.
please.
Say, I am a blessing. I am
I
a
am a
blessing.
blessing.
In me, all families of the earth shall be blessed. I am a blessing. In me. Let that sink in. And let's just imagine that. In me, all families. How can I bless all families of the earth? That's the blesser mindset. That's the mindset that we need to have if you want to be able to impact globally. So being a blessing means you're not a nuisance. You're not adding to the problems of this world and of your community. You are bringing solutions. You are creating and adding value with integrity. With integrity. You can be trusted. You are loving. You are loyal. You are respectful. You are a good person. You are truthful. You are humble. You are helpful. You are a team player. That's the blesser mindset. When you have the blesser mindset, you're looking at the world as what can I extract? How much can I extract from this person, from this business, from this community? But instead, looking at how can I add value? How can I be a blesser? Values make you valuable. It means you're shifting your mindset from being the person that complains. That is what we find around us. The person that complains to the person that contributes. What Ivy is doing right now, she's contributing to raising a crop of people who are ready to take responsibility and lead wherever they are located. Not waiting for that position to become a leader. So it means that you are no longer the person who is blaming. Have you noticed how we blame our presidents, especially in the country Nigeria? How you blame every president. If he was not the president for 3 days, we are just about to blame him for all the problems in Nigeria. And we fail to take ownership. We forget that our president is not one of us. It's a sample of the quality of the citizens that we have in this country. So we need to move from the the mindset of learning to ownership, from consumption to creation. A person who would be of global impact, asking the question always, how can I be invested? Bottom line, it is character, it is your character that will sustain what your talent has started. Character sustains what the talent can start. Without character, everything will collapse under any type of pressure. Without character, anything and everything will collapse under any type of pressure. There could be financial pressure, there could be pressure with your health, with loss of land, with enemies, competitors, whatever pressure. If you don't have character, you're going to collapse under pressure. You're going to make the wrong step, say the wrong thing, take the wrong action, and everything you have built will collapse under any type of pressure where there is no character. The next section we want to look at is competence and capacity. This is often difficult to distinguish. Competence is what you know to do, and capacity is what you know to do, and competence is how well you can do it. And I want us to look at it. Competence and capacity is the ability to know what to do it very well, and to keep getting better at doing it. To know what to do it excellently, to do it very, very well, and to continue to learn and grow and get better at it. So still going back to my Genesis, God is intentional about names. God said to Abraham, I will make thy name great. God is intentional about names because names represents identity, reputation, your personal brand. Your personal brand. Greatness is not about fame, power, or strength. It's about consistency of value. Napoleon Hill said, if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. That is, display the spirit of excellence in all that you do. When your name is mentioned, what comes to mind? If your name is mentioned far away in Japan, in the US, what comes to mind? If your name is mentioned in your place of work, in your community, your compound, in your workplace, in your school, what comes to mind? A few years ago, I asked my staff during one of our staff training sessions, is there anybody here that if you were to have your own organization, you will not employ the person? And it's interesting to note that everybody had their hand up. That means that everybody in my organization knew someone within, and we were less than 50 at that time, within the 50 of us there, everybody knew someone within the team that could not employ if they started their own organization. When the name is mentioned, what comes to mind? Global impact is built on trust at larger scale. Impact does not begin with a big platform. It begins with opportunities. This helps you to build capacities, small opportunities. How you handle small responsibilities determines how you will be ready for greater influence. Excellence in small things is the gateway to global relevance. Now, you have to build competence as well. Mindset and character will position you, but competence will sustain you. You cannot think globally and act with mediocrity, poor execution. To operate globally in this day and age, you must build capacity in three major areas: your skill competence. You must build capacity in your skill competence. Not only do you have to have that qualification, that skill, that talent, you must be able to communicate with people from different backgrounds. Communicate in writing, communicate, in spoken English. You must be able to communicate. Communication is a two-way thing. Be able to get people to listen to you, to respond to you, and to get them to do what you want them to do. So your communication aim should be to get the people to do what you want them to do. You don't want to open your mouth or to write that later, and the result you get at the end of the day is different from what you intended because you haven't mastered the art of communication. So you need to write this down, communication. Perhaps you will be able to, you should go back and then look at it, and that communication is a whole field on its own. There's a lot to learn, no matter how articulate you are. It's not just about being articulate. There's a lot more to learn about. That is a class by itself. We could do 3 hours just masterclass on communication, right? Digital literacy, using tools, our phones, our Android phones, our smartphones are not just for entertainment. There are a lot of tools that we have there that should help us to solve problems. Leadership and collaboration. Thank God we're already here learning about leadership, right? But we need to not just be good leaders, we also need to be good followers as well. Now, I said we had to build competence in three areas. Skill competence, that's a communication, digital literacy, leadership and collaboration. Then the delivery competence. One of the reasons that I think before we started this program, I logged in about 10 minutes to the time. And I wasn't surprised to see Ivy there. I've employed at least 1,000+ people in my lifetime. And not everybody would organize something like this and I will show up. But I will show up for Ivy because we have a lot in common. Ivy will deliver, she will meet deadlines. She's consistency in her output. She's not good on Monday and on Tuesday she's showing signs of mediocrity. He pays attention to details. She's interested in learning about professional standards and maintaining it. So for that kind of person, wherever I am, anytime she calls me, I'll always be there. And that's the mindset we should have. We don't want to be those people that would say, we're starting a program at 10 o'clock, and then by 11, we are still waiting. You're not going to go far. You can't even get to the airport with that because the flight will not wait for you. Outside Nigeria, the train will not wait for you. You will miss your flights if you try that abroad. So if there's one thing I want us to learn, to take away from this masterclass, is delivery competence, consistency in our output, attention to details, professional standards in our various professions, meeting deadlines, honoring time, honoring commitment. There's also the growth competence, continuous learning. See, we don't have enough time in our various professions to learn all we need to learn at school. We have to be lifelong learners. The tailor, the hairdresser, the teacher, the chef that will be of global relevance is someone who has not dusted the books at graduation. Is someone who understands that there is just so much happening. We are right now in a day and age where information is just so abundant. And the years we spend at school learning is not enough. We have to learn how to learn by ourselves, how to continue to learn beyond the four walls of school. This is required for relevance. We have to be able to accept feedback. Don't throw the baby and the bathwater. We have to be ready to accept feedback. Someone is giving you feedback. Maybe the person spoke to you in a nasty tone. It doesn't matter. Pick the baby and throw away the bathwater. We must have self-improvement systems, and this is one of them. Attending seminars, master classes, reading books is one of them. Subscribing to channels online of where you are learning and growing, not just for entertainment, but where you watch something on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, something that adds value to your life, your profession. Self-improvement systems. Set a schedule for yourself. You go to church every Sunday. What time have you set for intentional learning? You must set a time for yourself. On Friday or on Sunday evenings, I'll spend 1 or 2 hours learning something new, concerning my profession. Action. After God told Abraham, move. Verse 4, Genesis 12, verse 4 says, Abraham departed. Abraham did not just hear, he acted. Many people are inspired but inactive. They receive ideas, teachings, and opportunities, but never move. Global impact requires an action mindset. Act on what you have learned. Act on what you learn. Start before. Can you hear me? Something is interrupting my. Hello, please acknowledge if you can hear
I
me.
can I can hear you
Okay.
more. You're
Okay,
clear.
so thank you. Act on what you learn. Start before you feel ready. Move even when it's uncomfortable. The difference between potential and impact is execution. So today we have learned, a lot, I would say, I hope. But don't leave this as an inspiration. Turn it into an action. This week, identify one area where your thinking must shift. And I will be happy if you can do that. Do you have one area where you would like to shift your thinking based on what you have heard this morning? What one way can you shift your thinking? What one way can you shift your thinking? Can you change? What one thing have you learned today and you're going to put into action? What one step are you going to take outside your comfort zone? What one value are you going to add to someone's life? Ivy has spent hours preparing this masterclass. She's adding value to our lives. Even for me as the speaker, in the course of preparation, I have identified the areas where I am going to shift. It's interesting to note that most of my trainings has been on Zoom. This is the first major training I'm doing on
Google
Google
Meet.
Meet. I actually am on Zoom on daily basis. So for me, I had to step outside my comfort zone. If she had asked me, I would have said, oh, let's do it on Zoom. So coming on on Google Meet is going out of my comfort, outside my comfort zone. So how can you add value to someone's life this week intentionally? What skill would you like to improve today? What one skill? You've heard of all the skills that you need to improve your competence and capacity. What one thing can you do today for global relevance? Global impact is not a future possibility. It begins with what you do today. It begins with what you do today. So I know that I'm almost out of time. I would, how much more time do I have, Ivy? Can I have 5 minutes?
We'll do 15 minutes
Okay.
for you before we go
No.
into the conversational
Okay.
session.
Section. Okay. So I'm trying to keep to time. I know you are, when it comes to time, I stick to time. Yeah. So I want to just still talk a little bit more about competence, the capacity to deliver. You can have a great mindset and good character, but if you cannot deliver results, your potential will remain largely unrealized. So we should examine our skills. What do you do every day? What do you do for a living? Are you the best at it? Can you do it well? Can you do it well on time? Can you do it well over and above the expectations of your boss, of your customer? How are you growing in your skill sets? How are you growing in your profession? You have been a teacher, you have been a worker, you've been a doctor, a nurse for 15, 20 years. Get more value in retrenching you and employing somebody that just graduated yesterday. Perhaps because those ones have access to technology or the latest practices, best practices in their profession. How are you growing? How can you keep getting better? Do you have a plan for your growth? Do you have a list of skills you would love to improve on that will better position you in your profession? It's not enough to have the knowledge, abilities, and skills required. You can have all of that. But if you don't know how to communicate clearly, can you put up a good proposal? Can you write a decent email? Can you speak confidently? Can you listen and respond appropriately? Can you explain complex ideas regarding your trade, your career in simple terms for your customers to understand? Can you communicate with people from different backgrounds in a way that they will understand and not misunderstand you? Your ability to communicate can determine whether people understand, trust, and want to work with you. People understand, trust. We are here because we trust Ivy. We are here because we want to work with Ivy. There are people who would invite me to speak and I will say no because I don't trust them and I don't want to work with them. They're sloppy. So you have to understand that your personal brand is communicating something, your action and inactions, You are communicating something that if your name is mentioned, someone there will say, no, I don't want to work with that person. That person's not a truthful person. You cannot count on her words or his words, you know? Can you effectively use technology to create, learn, communicate, and solve problems in your field? There are lots of digital productivity tools. How many are you using? How many? When you hear of ChatGPT, Gemini, how are you? Are you embracing or are you stagnant? Are you embracing these tools? What tools are there in your own profession? What tools are there that could make you more productive? It's not just about can you use technology? Can you use technology to create value? What is your attitude to problem solving? Do you just try to solve problems by creating more problems, finding people that to blame for causing the problems in the first place? Are you able to identify the problems? Understand the root cause of the problems. Consider various options, not just one option, various options. Option A, option B, option C. And then choose the best option, not an option or a solution that someone else applied based on their own specific peculiar circumstances. For the problems that we may have the same problems, but the way I will solve my problem depends on my resources. We cannot solve the problem of Africa with US resources. So we have to be leaders who can identify the problem, understand the root cause of the problem, and consider options that are readily available to us. And then choose from these options, and then look back to evaluate our results. People who can solve problems in their workplace, in their families, become valuable wherever they go. People who can solve problems and have good values, because your good values makes you valuable, right? They become very valuable wherever they go. They become sought after all over the world. There's one thing that is common with people all over the world, is that they want excellence. There's no culture, there's no country that is looking for people of mediocrity. Global impact really happens alone. You need to know how to work with others, how to respect different perspectives, how to take responsibility, how to resolve disagreement amicably, not with fists fighting, not with fighting, boxing each other. You see our leaders, they fight in the Senate, they fight in House of Assembly. No, you have to know how to resolve disagreement amicably. You have to know how to influence positively. You have to know when to lead and when to follow. Today, I'm following Ivy, right? And tomorrow, she will follow me, right? You have to know when it's time for you to lead and when it's time for you to follow. Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about helping people move forward towards a worthwhile outcome. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is helping people move forward towards a worthwhile action. So I can talk for the nation, but I want to stop here so that.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank
So,
you.
For everyone on the call, we are at this point, the conversation for every stage, which is the live consulting Q&A session. So help me, Alex. I see Alex on the call. Angelua, Betsy, Perpetua, Rita. Help me monitor the chat session for questions. Where I call from, you can read any question that pops up on the chat. So I'll be reading questions that were emailed to me directly. So if any question comes up at the background, please, Alex, Perpetua, and the rest, help me. So the first question is for the high school leavers and undergraduates category, building a leadership identity before you hold a title. So, Ma, the question is, many young people think leadership is something you grow into later. What should someone still in high school or a recent high school leaver be doing right now to start building a leadership identity? Coming from the fact that I have started engaging in some global spaces and I'm seeing opportunities expiring from 25, like the age range for those opportunities falls from 18 to 25. Looking back at the Nigerian culture, where it's so they tend to so control the teenagers that by 18, 19, they are still getting direction from their parents. The Nigerian culture per se is not positioning a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old for a global platform that by 18, those opportunities that pops up will be occupied by Nigerian teenagers. So what do you think, how do you think someone should start assessing those kind of opportunity? What mindsets, what value can they use to position those opportunities?
Thank you, Ivy. Um, Young people often think that leadership is something that you grow or you do when you're older or you grow into. But I want to say that it starts while you are still in school. It starts while you are at school. The first place to start is to lead yourself. If you're that person that you have to be reminded to do things more than once, like you're told to do ABC, and you do it that day, and tomorrow you have to be reminded on what you have been told two, three, four, five times, then you are not ready for leadership. So it starts with not waiting to be reminded, not waiting to be pushed. Leading yourself. Leading yourself.
Okay.
Wake up in the morning and you have what you want to do. So when you lead yourself, then it will be easy for you to lead others. It's interesting to note that for me personally, as a secondary school leaver, while I was in secondary school, I was the house captain in my house. My house was the dirtiest house in the school from inception until I became the house captain. And I developed strategies to get my house to move from the fifth house to the second house. And when I was graduating from secondary school, the teachers decided to give me an award that had never existed before in the school. Diligence, the most diligent graduates, or prefects rather, the most diligent prefect. And then 40 years down the line, I received an invitation from my classmates who also nominated me for our award, the person of impact in our sets 40 years later. I think Ivy is also was there when I was in my church, when I was posted from my department to the children's church. It was like I was being given a send off. I've never seen it happen before. I was given an award in my church and also a dinner, you know. So where did it start from? As a child, as a young child, I cannot follow you anywhere that is not in my to-do list. Like I'm focused. I know what I want to achieve. Okay, so I'm not going to, you cannot come to me and say, let's go. Instead, I will tell you, let's go. And if you follow me, I'll be the first in class. You'll be the second. Those of us those people that were in my group of friends, we will be the first, second, third, fourth until we are done before others will join us. So when you lead yourself and people see results, they will follow you. So if you don't lead yourself properly, you're not ready for leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. So we have Betty. Betty, please signify by responding. Betty is part of Building Sound Minds, but she's also a teenage coach. She has a platform known as The Generals for teenagers. So, Betty, on today's conversation, what is relating to your real life experiences at your foundation? Betty, what can you share that you could take back to your community that you are raising for teenagers aligned with good structure? Betty, are you there? You're muted.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Ma'am. Comfort. That was a very, very inspiring teaching for me. There's one thing she spoke about here. She said, traveling. Yeah, it's communication or identity is not about traveling right now. It's about adding
Yeah, it's about the
value.
value. Yeah, that
Yeah,
stuck
so
with me very
yeah, that's
much.
stuck with me seriously. So now we are at liberty that we don't have to think of the visa, the money, the ticket, and all of it before we can create value. It's just to have a platform. Now, one thing I know I'm going to take to my teenagers, the world that we are in right now, we don't have limitations anymore, except you don't just want to move. There is a platform for everybody.
Yes.
Thank God for this identity program. So the first thing is know your identity. Now, one thing she said again, your certificate is not enough, but your skill is one thing that takes you and keeps you where you're supposed to be. So this is a big one for me. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, ID. At
Thank
least
you.
I know what to push for my teenagers, knowing that because some of them will tell you they've not had the ability to go to school, their parents are not there, blah, 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 blah. So I have something to hold on to, telling them that you can go beyond the classroom. You can go beyond the classroom because the world we are in now, you can just get to anywhere and just buy a certificate and present to anybody that, oh, we are graduates of this. But that skill is what you take you beyond the book, beyond the walls of the classroom. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you
And
so much,
also,
Betty.
you have encouraged me today. Honestly, I find it somehow difficult to do some private, developing some skills online just because of the workload and all that. But you've proven to me today that in that tight schedule, you can still create time. 1 hour, 2 hours a day, that's like 7 hours a week. That's a lot to cover. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you, ID. God
Thank you,
bless.
Betty.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Betty. So the next question for a young professional, Ma, this is for you. How
Okay.
can someone new to the workforce start showing leadership without a leadership title? I
Hmm.
think she's in a position where I think, let me take it back to the context.
Okay.
For the Nigerian employers, for the Nigerian culture, because I have worked with three different Nigerian employers and I've been opportune to work with three different global teams. And I see a disconnect in the global team wants you to handle the situation, come back to them with results. But I think the Nigerian team is the what's it called? Monitoring, close up,
Micromanaging.
yes,
Yes.
micromanaging. So I think that is interfering with productivity for the young people at the young level of the workforce. So how can we show leadership without trying to feel like we are insulting or trying to overpower our team leader, the supervisor, the manager, and all of that?
Yeah. Um, so I will try to focus because that is very broad. That's very broad. Because first and foremost, it's also about who the manager is and the setting whereby the person may feel threatened, right? And that's also due to the person's ignorance on management and leadership. Like it could be in the civil service, for instance, where the person feels that, oh, this young person coming is coming to take my job. But in an ideal situation, ideal scenario, right? I want to say that nobody really wants to micro.
Hello, Ma. You're breaking off. I don't know if you can hear me.
It's because of inconsistency, the things we have just talked about. Inconsistency.
Hello, Ma. You're breaking off. I don't know if you could hear me. Could you reposition, Ma? Hello, Ma.
In delivery. Okay, because now the person who is going to show leadership without a title is the person who does not wait to be told what to do. The person understands the vision of the organization. The person will sit there, will see problems. Now, when you understand where you are, your setting, when you see problems, you don't you don't sit down and complain about those problems. You come to your boss with solutions. Like I said earlier on, option A, option B, option C. Who doesn't want that kind of worker? Right? Who does not want that kind of worker? So when you are able to, first and foremost, through your behavior, through your work ethics, take initiative, come to your boss, first and foremost, understand the vision so that you don't start feeling bad that, oh, I went to my boss and I brought a suggestion and she did not follow through. If you understand the vision of your boss,
I think network has taken her off, so I will try to get her to join in. Mm. Okay, sorry for the
Okay,
disconnect.
my network.
Okay.
Okay, I think I was I've almost lost. I've lost.
Okay, you were
Thought
at
of-
the point where you were trying to put out that if the staff understands the vision of her employee or his employee, then his
yeah,
contribution will align to what he wants and he will
exactly.
not feel shut down.
Yes, and
Thank you so much, Ma.
over time, the employer will become more dependent on that employee. Yeah. Okay, we can wrap up on that point now and move on to some other one. Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you so
Okay.
much. So the next question for the next for still young professionals, please, you can send your insights, your thoughts on the chat box for her to address directly. If you're a business owner, you're working in teams, and you'll be transiting. I have more of an audience that are trying to transit from Nigerian work teams to global work teams. So you could ask her question on how she handled her work teammates when she occupied those places. She has worked with them physically and she has worked with them remotely. So get insights on how to manage your teammates relationship, that when you get the job, you're sustained in that job and you're not losing it because of maybe a mindset shift. So it's one thing to get the global remote job, is one thing for you to sustain it. So I'll be expecting questions on that. For the young professional, what separates professionals who get noticed for leadership potential from those who get stuck as just good workers? Relating it to me, I know that I have worked with various teams, and you can be putting in some efforts even globally, and they will, it's sort of like as if preferred treatment sort of is getting shipped to another person that is not putting in the much effort you are putting at that point. So what's that thing that gives us an advantage towards leadership when we are doing the right thing, basically?
Okay, that's for me, right?
Yes, please. Yes, ma.
Okay. What makes you get noticed as a leader, not
As a
just
good as a good worker in the
as a good.
eyes of management. Yes, please.
Okay, what makes you so good worker is you do what you're supposed to do, right?
Yes, please.
And then the things that you see left undone by other people, you can say that is not my job.
Yes, very true. Very much.
That's not my job. I've heard it many times. It's not on my job description. That means you are not prepared to be a leader, right? But when you again understand the bigger picture, you understand the what the company, the organization, the ministry, the foundation, the family is trying to achieve. You understand? You take ownership. Okay, if you are in a school and we want to, produce students who do well, for instance, right? You take ownership and you see a child who is not in your class do something wrong. You don't look the other way. You understand? So it's
Yes.
understanding the vision, embracing the vision, right? And then running with it. That's what separates a good worker from that other person. So you might find somebody who's not even as hardworking as you are, but that person is being given higher position. Someone less qualified than you is treated better because the person understands the big picture and takes ownership beyond their job description. The person
Thank you
is a
so much,
let me
Mama.
just go back to the character. The person is a blesser.
Good
He's a
one. Good
blesser,
one.
blesser mindset, right? Not a selfish mindset, a blesser mindset. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ma. So just to add with that, for everyone on this call, Mrs. Upong is my last, or yes, is my last Nigerian employer. And talking about I was employed as an executive assistant to her, which gave me access to the leadership skill you can see I'm putting out here for those that have worked with me. But that role came up with so much responsibility that for a second is a Nigerian mindset to everyone on this call. You feel like you're being used. And it took a while for me to have that mindset shift, that it is someone that has value that they will use.
Oh yes.
If you do not have value, you will
Mm-hmm.
not be used. So
Mm-hmm. You'll not be
the
useful. You'll
yes,
not be
so
useful.
the mindset shift, the mindset shift to manage your emotions, the stress that come
Mhm.
with it at that time is where it has to do all on your identity. This is
Mm.
to every worker out there that feels you're doing good work, but you're not being seen. You feel like you're doing too much work and you feel like you're being used. I want everyone on this call to leave the mindset that being used mindset
Mm.
is not for people that will not go far. If you are prepared to be a leader, you have to have the mindset of multitasking. But how do we draw the balance that it is not toxic and unhealthy? That still falls back to you. You can do it politely, but if you have an identity that feels like you're being used, the attitude you use to want to draw the balance of healthiness will be wrong.
Mm.
I'm talking from experience.
Yeah.
So, is there a place of workload too much? Yes. What can you gain from the opportunity? Teamwork and multitasking. How do you manage your emotions that you don't make that event toxic? Is why we are here. Because if you go on a global space, you want to tell me that if you're giving multiple tasks, that the attitude you use to put out that, oh, this is, and don't say that there's no overload in, there is.
Even
In
more.
other words, it will not come directly like it's an
Mhm.
overload. They will just do it and be looking at you with one eye. Then how do you
Mhm.
prove your efficiency? How do you prove the Nigerian resilience that everybody's talking about? Is you trying to cover up for those gaps and you'll be putting it out there, boss. And I tell you that you'll be more preferred than a remote worker that is doing only their work.
Oh yes.
So I think all Nigerian workforce professionals should have a mindset that if you're being overloaded, see it as an opportunity to build your
Capacity.
cross-functional team
Yeah.
sets and capacity. Then there is a balance for drawing the line of when it gets unhealthy and toxic. Try to do it in a healthy behavior, not a toxic and malicious and contrite behavior to now
Mm.
start building a toxic relationship. If I did that, I the first time I got employed by Mr. Pong, September 2018. If our relationship ended on the ground of toxicity, not being, did we have our places of disagreement? Oh yes, but you're able to manage the attitude, the behavior over time that after I think it's 8 years from 2018 or 9 years, I'm inviting her for my own platform. You cannot get this if you're ending your 5 years, 3 years relationship of your employer on a toxic background. It will not work. So I hope everybody has that mindset shift of I'm not being used, I'm building capacity, and if it's too much, can I communicate the workload in a healthy and and nice manner, not toxic and unhealthy. And Perpetual, please, your hands are up. You can go on. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ivy. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mark, for all you have said so far. It has been a very insightful session, especially the part where you spoke about ownership. And Ivy, this part you just started talking about is just it just made me want to ask this question. So my question is, um, how do you or how do we influence systems? So how, because you kind of touched on boundaries and drawing the line and striking the balance. But my question is, how do we influence systems? So here's the reason why I'm asking. Um, when I got my first job, and I'm still working that job currently, my mindset was over and beyond because I wanted to learn. I wanted to be the best I could be in the job. And the way my job is, you have to build capacity so that you would achieve your tasks in less time. So the only way for you to really do that is to chook your head in as much as you can, read as much as you can. But when I finally got the hang of the job, it was easier for me to get my tasks done on time. I was more reliable. And then my manager at the time had an issue with me leaving work after 5 p.m. On my job description, it says 8 a.m. to 5. I arrive early and I leave early because my house was quite far. Now, when I even get home, I would continue because you need to always be reading. My job was to develop proposals. So there's always something for you to read. There's always an opportunity for you to source for. So she had a problem with me leaving. When she finally said it to my face, I just, like you said, I politely went to her table with laugh and I was telling her, this 5 p.m., leaving at 5 has to work. Staying a minute after is not going to work because I live far off and Abuja was quite hot that time. There was a lot of one chance going on, and they said, "Oh, if you people that stay till like 7, just leave during when the day is dark. Most of them are the ones that fall victim." So I tried to leave work early, and when we were having that conversation on our table, she was like, "Don't I see my colleague, a man?" And then I said, "Oh, this person is a man. He can move around. I'm sure he can even defend himself, but I can't. Like being late is putting me at risk. So it's not going to work." And then it left my mind. Then subsequently, I heard that so it was end of the year retreat. I heard from a friend that my bonus was slashed a bit because I'm always leaving work early. Even though it wasn't said to my face, but at least it's just something that I heard, and it kind of bothered me. Then on another occasion, it's proposal development, so um, there's a 14-day cycle to it. And while we understand that external deadlines are not ours, on they wanted to add Sunday to it. And Sunday is a day of rest. Like oftentimes we get short-dated work, but making Sunday the standard is not even helpful, even to the leader, because I believe that everybody needs time to still rest and reset. Because when you are reading a lot of documents like that, it's so hard. So that time I had to even speak up to say, no, even for you as our leader, it will be so hard for you to review 11 people's work up until Sunday. And even with your own schedules that we know that you do. So how do we continue to influence even our managers by being good followers? Like, is it a boundary thing? Is it an influence thing? How can my mindset like influence them to have a little more empathy and actually just see the goal, you know, beyond all of these other things? I don't know if the question is clear.
Yes,
Thank you.
I think it's just the frustration of being a hard worker and then working with someone who is not understanding. That's why this class is not just for budding, leaders. It's also very important for even those ones who have been privileged by virtue of connection or access to capital to be employer of laborers as well. You know, so obviously the person you work for also needs leadership training. That's number one. Because a leader is supposed to see without being told when the workload is becoming unhealthy for the workers. There's nothing wrong in working on Sunday once a while if there is a target to meet. But when you work on Sunday, when there's a target to meet, it's important to also be given, time off, even if it is not indicated, to be given that space to rest. But don't be surprised also if you are a fantastic worker. Like in the case of Ivy and myself, there were two people that were occupying that position, but she was more efficient and effective than the second person. And guess what happened? When something was at stake, what will I do? I put it on Ivy because I know that she will deliver, right? But I can tell you that other person cannot call me today for anything. But Ivy is calling me, and Ivy will always have access to me. Now, there is the feeling sometimes of, giving too much. But I want you to have the mindset of the fact that if you work for someone in a small organization, if I worked for someone in a small organization, I will want to do everything that person is doing so that I will be able to achieve more than what that person has achieved. That's the secret. If I run 5 organizations, how am I coping? Each of my staff will be handling a little aspect of what I do, right? Each of my staff is handling a little aspect of what I do in my 5 organizations, right? And my PA is handling as much as I do. That means that she's being positioned. Then by the time she adds her strength, her wisdom, her knowledge, that is, she has in the past 5 years captured my essence. In the ministry, we call it impartation. Captured my essence. Then she will add her age, being that she's much younger and more energetic. She will add technology to it. Come on. She has gotten a solid foundation to do 10 times or more than what I could ever achieve. Now, when you see a tree, when you see children holding stones and throwing at a tree, it's only a tree that has fruits, right? That will be attacked with stones, that will go through that kind of pressure. A tree that has no fruit, nobody's going to put you under any pressure. It is only pressure that makes coal to turn to diamonds. So when, we sing in church, use me, oh Lord. I'm looking for someone to use me right now. When I've been called to use me, I gave myself to be used. Right? I used Ivy before. Ivy is using me now. Am I making sense to you? Right? And I'm available to be used by you to any level, right? So please don't ever feel you're being used. You're being given an opportunity to increase your capacity. Now, on the issue of bonus, I don't know why your boss did not consider using that bonus to give you a different accommodation. Right? I would have instead of cutting the bonus, I would have rented a place for you. I want to share a story of one of my staff, a similar situation like this. I had a staff at 4:30. I'm still at work. She will go. Then her junior would stay behind. And when I saw that her junior was staying behind to help me complete my task, the first thing I did was order the school bus driver to take that her junior to drop her, because the drivers lived on the campus. So take this lady, because I cannot see her go late in the night. That's why I said to you that leadership is important, right? And you must ensure that you have a leader who is a blesser, who has a blesser mindset. If your leader is not interested in your welfare, is not a child of God, if you are a Christian, I don't know what to call that person in a Muslim, if you are from other religion, but the person should have a blesser mentality. Your leader, your boss, your organization should have a blesser mindset. If not, you are in the wrong place in the first place. No matter how much you're being paid, if your organization do- does not have your interest at heart, they cannot sacrifice for you when you are in trouble, they're not interested in your welfare, it's a dangerous place to be. So where you have a leader who has interest in your welfare, that person should not allow you as a young lady to be going home in the dark without calling a drop. What I would have done is I will not let you jump bus. I will either release my driver, go and drop her at home. In fact, that same lady that I used to release the driver for, after a while, she was just too much. Until today, I still spend almost 2 million naira paying her rent to be nearer to the place of work. Her workplace and the school is like a 2 minutes. I still give her a vehicle. Eventually, I had to I've given her 3 vehicles so far. I gave her a vehicle because she was going the extra mile. So there's a balance between leaving early and losing that leadership. But that only works in an environment whereby the organization is interested in your welfare. Not people that something happens to you, God forbid you're not alive. Life goes on. But if your boss is a human being, is sensitive, is loving, is a blesser, the person will make arrangement for that superstar to be very comfortable so that the person can work with joy. In fact, the person should offer a profit sharing, should offer in future. I would, if I have such a staff that's also a blesser like me, I would willingly, make the person a co-owner of my organization. So that's the balance. Without your leaders having the right mindset, I wouldn't advise you to do that. Okay? But if your leaders have the right mindset, then when the work comes like that, everybody is working overnight. When I used to work in the bank, bankers sleep over. When it's time to do their end of year report, everybody sleeps in the office, the Saturday, Sunday, until the report is done. So it's acceptable. My husband works in an oil company. They go offshore. They sleep in the middle of the ocean. It's acceptable to do that. But when their time offshore is done, they are given time to rest and recuperate. So I hope that is helpful.
Thank you so much, Ma. Perpetua has given a sign, the congratulation sticker. So I think she is satisfied. So we just have few minutes or 29 minutes, and we have to touch on the business owners and entrepreneur level. So I'll ask the two questions in one for business owners. So please, everyone should pay attention. Ms. Ukpong has groups of schools standing and working in Nigeria for over, I think, 2 decades, 20 years
25
plus.
years, yeah.
25 years. So she is not telling you a motivational strategy. She is telling you what has kept her business standing for 25 years. So, Mrs. Upong, what's the shift from managing tasks to leading people and systems, and how do business owners know when they are stuck at the wrong level? What is the shift for managing tasks and people and systems, and how do business owners know that that strategy where they are is a wrong level and is making them stuck? The second part is, what are the common mistakes that keeps growing business from scaling to sustainability?
Yeah, the shift from managing tasks to leading people and systems. How do you know you're stuck at the wrong
Level.
level? Now, when you are so you see, it all depends. Let's look at this from the perspective of someone who is starting business from scratch. You know, you're just starting business from scratch. You have no staff, you're the first staff, and then you employ one staff, you employ two, three, four, you know, and all that. You need to have, you know, initially the business is going to demand your time to grow. It's going to demand your time to grow. When I started my business, I did school bus myself. I did cleaning myself. I did security myself. I was teaching personally. I did all aspects of the job myself because I started with very little capital. Now that's different from somebody who has enough capital to employ 20, 30 workers from scratch. So you have to understand where you are in the journey of your business. The fact that the other person is not um, involved in the daily operations, the fact that the other person's business can function without them, because they had capital to hire the talent. A person who started a school with 30 workers cannot be compared with the person who started with one worker, right? So first and foremost, understand your place in the journey. Because if you make a mistake of making the wrong decision because you don't understand, there's no awareness of where you are comparing yourself with the other organization that is functioning without the owner, then you're going to mess up big time. So when you understand your place in the journey, there's the time that you are going to be at work 11 hours a day, 15 hours a day, 18 hours a day. But it is expected that over time, you will build the right systems, you will develop the people, and you will create the structure that will help the business stand over time. And one of the first things that you must do is to hire people of competence and character. After you have gotten the vision, it's expected that as you start your business, you already have a vision and a mission, right? And you are able to cast that mission and vision on your workers and your employees, right? Your employees know what you stand for and what you cannot tolerate. That is casting the vision. They know where they're going. They understand how to get there. It's assumed you already have that. So you're looking in your employees for someone who is willing and able, who is very in tune, with the vision, and who has the character that you need. Someone that if you are off for 6 months, the person will not sell every single item in the organization. This person is trustworthy, is hardworking, and has a similar spirit with you. So that you begin to, out of maybe 10 workers, you identify them. It means that you have to focus initially on training. In the early days, I used to train my staff every Thursday. I have trainings every Thursday, and then once in 3-4 months, we invite people to, I call it casting the vision. I call it impartation. So among them, you will see the ones that have a similar spirit with you. And when you see someone that has something you cannot tolerate, you have to be bold enough to let the person go. You have to build the culture such that these people know what to do and they will do it They know your values. They will do it this way, whether you are around or not. So I want to say that sometimes I'm not in the country for 3 months. In my foundation, when I come back, I even feel so irrelevant because when I come back, I'm hearing positive stories. Oh my God, Mama, we don't know. When you traveled, this happened. We organized this. We did this. There's something called shared leadership. Shared leadership. If you have time, I don't want us to go that way today. You can look into that. Whereby you share leadership and you give them little authority. And as the people are doing well, you expand their authority, right? You keep expanding. And to a point that people know that this person represents you. And then you have to pick somebody who is not exactly like you. One of my most dependable leaders, I am a very flexible kind of person. She is very rigid, right? Like Ivy, yeah, very rigid. So it's a fantastic pair, right? If I pick someone who is like me, there will be wahala. You understand? So picking that person is important so that you can be unstuck from the day-to-day practices, operations of your business. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, please, Ma, it does. So we'll be moving to the last group of persons, which are entrepreneurs. And for entrepreneurs, I'll take the question one after the other, but there are two, so that it can bring clarity to those on the call. Character and competence both matter, but when you're building something from scratch, which one carries you further in those early years? And what's from your experience, what were the mistakes you made that you would advise no other business owner, no other entrepreneur should make, since the essence of this platform is to get knowledge from people who has gone ahead of us? Thank you.
Okay, so you start with competence. I cannot overemphasize that. You start with competence. You have no business starting a business that you don't know about. You should not start a business that you don't know about, because it will be difficult for you to have a clarity of vision and mission on what you don't understand. Your business should be to go into a particular field and solve a peculiar a problem that you have been created to solve. You go into a particular field, maybe it's fashion, maybe it's education, right? You go into a field that you have passion for, you've studied, and you've identified the problem. Please, this is not about qualification, about degree. You have to have passion for what. You cannot be a school owner who doesn't like to read and write. You don't like academics, and you're opening school. How? You will not have the respect from your workers because they can see through that you don't even know anything about academics, right? So you have to have that competence first and foremost. But it is the character that will keep you going. It's the character that will keep you going. Because without character, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to take wrong decisions. You're going to, you're not going to be, you're just going to do things because you want to get results from through ways that will end up putting you in trouble, through ways that will not be honorable to God, through ways that will send away people of good character from you. For instance, I'm an educationist. If I don't have character, I will fall under the pressure to encourage exam malpractice, right? Guess what? The staff that will be comfortable working for me and with me will be people of criminal tendencies.
Yes.
So you will, before you know it, you are building a culture of criminality in your organization. When you make children cheat at WAEC, how will you stop the driver from stealing fuel? Right? So competence gets you started. Character keeps you going because you may build that school for 20 years. It takes just one incident to shut you down. One incident of exam malpractice or whatever evil you have been able to nurture, whatever monster you've been able to create. It's one day everything comes tumbling down. So competence gets you started, but character keeps you standing forever. So that's what I can say about character. The second question, can you
The
please
second
remind me?
question was on, from your experience, what can you share with us on the mistakes you made while on the journey as a first as when you were employee, which is like in a workforce? What's what's wrong did you learn not to do as an employee? Because we have young professional. One, as a business owner, what mistake do you know that should not be repeated as a business owner and as an employee, as an entrepreneur? Just one thing that you missed that you will not want any other person to miss.
Okay, so for me, I have had the privilege of being a leader from very young age, from very, very, as far as I can remember. I've always been a leader, somebody who leads herself. So I think that gave me a great advantage. I've always had clarity where I want to be in 10 years, like now, what I want to do in 10, 15 years and all of that. I've always had that clarity. So, and I've always been a person that learns outside the classroom. I read a lot. So starting from nowhere, starting from ground zero, I have more of what I will say helped my success than what I would say did not help me. But what I would say I wish I could do better, I could have done better, is improve my communication skills. I wish I could improve my communication skills a lot better, because I grew up in a home that my mother can shout and you will shiver. When you hear her voice, it will take that nonsense out of your head, right? So I think I wish I had, my early staff really, I would say, may have suffered from temper, right? From maybe the way I would talk to them, so I wish I had really learned more about communication when I was much younger as a leader, because I want to believe that some of the people that I worked with in the early years may have suffered a bit of trauma from the way I was brought up, the way I communicated with them, especially when they did something wrong. So that's the one thing I really wish I had done differently. If you ask me that, yeah. That's one thing I would have done differently.
Thank you so much, Ma. I think that is the best positioning. That is a leader who has built and has reflected, and everyone should take all she has said to application. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for your time. So this we come to the end of the leadership identity masterclass, and everyone has taken notes, but very important for competence and sustainability. You cannot take out character and your skill sets and your delivery. So I too, I need to also work on my communication because of my thinking process. So I tend to try to communicate everything that is going on in my head at a fast speed. And I get to hear people say, slow down, Ivy, kindly listen. And I'm just trying to give out everything that is in my head at that moment so I do not miss it. So it's also a learning curve for me to try and see how I can communicate clearly and the other person is not feeling left out. So for today, we are taking that leadership is to build identity first, strengthen through character, grow through competence, and get sustained through our service. Not defined by titles, built at every stage for the classroom board. Ivy Uduakobong, the discussant for this event, and I will encourage you to scan this link and follow me for the next masterclass events. So the next masterclass events will be next month. That will be like 4 weeks from now, and we'll be having a conversation now on core global positioning as a workforce. So I made my research, and while I'm building this platform, is that by 2026, from world journals, that the workspaces will go back to smaller teams. So imagine the smaller teams COVID made workspaces to go back to. Now the rise of AI will now make people go back smaller. It is even estimated that everybody will now become a solopreneur, which means you will not get staff to do your job. You will look for a problem in the wall and use AI automations to set the workflow up and see how you can deliver value. So as by 2029, which is 3 years from now, it's estimated that everybody will go smaller in size because the major workflow and automation will be outsourced to AI. And this is what I and New Management's positioning, I and New Management Consulting is trying to bridge the gap. By 2050, 1 out of 4 people will be Africans. By 2050, by 2050, Nigeria will be the 3rd largest in population, and we have the youngest workforce. So do you want to be relevant by 2050? I don't know about you, but about me, I want to catch up with every skill I need to collaborate with, that I'm able to put out value by 2050. There will be demand for a younger workforce from Nigeria, from Africa. So by that time, will you be ready? So we are positioning, how do you, if you have 10 years of experience, if you have 20 years of experience, if you have 5 years, if you have 0, how can you incorporate your career niche to the AI tool that is in play now? Because one thing about the AI tools, they are upgrading them every week. So that's why the estimate is saying in 3 years, teams will go smaller, because the AI is being upgraded every week, the AI industry, because they are competing amongst themselves. Everybody wants to stay relevant. So the strategy I and New Management Consulting is putting out, that even if you have 10 years of managerial experience, how do you collaborate with an AI tool that you're still relevant? What will you use a management AI tool to build? What workflow, what process will you use that AI tool to build that will be productive to your team and you can still keep your job, or even build a business from the processes, the workflow you're creating. So that is what INU is trying to position Nigerian youths, since we have the youngest workforce in rated ever. So by follow me, I'll post this on LinkedIn. And if you do not have a LinkedIn page and you're thinking of positioning yourself globally, you have to get yourself set up in that. So it's one of the things we can walk through, and I'll share the next invitation for the next events. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your time. We have 7 minutes to 12. Thank you so much. Please, everyone should unmute and tell Mrs. Ukpong, my former employee, my former boss,
Thank
my
you. Thank you.
a
Thank you
leader,
so much.
a builder, a builder. We have been able to use this relationship to prove that you do not have to end your employment. I'm trying to put on my camera.
Mhm.
Have to
Yes.
end your job in a toxic platform, that
Mm.
you're able to. And when I talk, I did not spend 2 years and 3 years. I spent almost 8 years with her. So
Hardworking. I'm a hard worker. So you
okay,
can't work with me if you don't know how to work hard.
so yeah, so I spent 8 years with her. I first got on the team in September 2018. And side note, she wasn't in the country when I resumed that job role. She wasn't in the country. So I had to work with her using Google Workspace. So that was my first interface of working with AI tools. This was in 2018. She wasn't in the country,
Yes.
and I needed
Mm.
to supervise, give reports. And by
Yes.
2020, COVID came. It
Mm.
was easy for Greater Scholars International
Yes.
School. That is her brand. I'm putting
Mhm.
it out there. Everyone that has
Yes.
any relation in Lagos, Aja, Shangote, Lekki, VI, we all have bus services. If you have a niece, if you have a nephew, a cousin, please research on the school. I will share it on the different platform and reach out to how to have an intake in her facility. Going back to 2020, it was easy for us to now structure
Mhm.
online virtually. We now move
Yes.
an on-site class to a virtual platform, and it would have not been easy to transit if she wasn't someone that was managing a
Also.
global structure, gave accessibility to to working tools. So the globality does not come with only international teams. It comes right from your local
Yeah.
base. And that was how we transited to virtual services.
Yes.
And I left and I'm where I am today. So INU Management Consulting is not giving you motivational speeches. It's giving you strategies and theory that we have tested, and
Yeah.
I have a leader, an employer who I've worked with to confirm all what I'm saying is not motivational speeches. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
please,
Thank
you can
you.
unmute. You can unmute. I will appreciate to just to say thank you, Mrs. Upong.
Thank you, Mrs. Upong.
Thank you so much,
This
Mrs.
was such a
Ukpong.
lovely session, to be honest. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you for having
there's
me.
just so much value here, and
Thank
we're
you.
really honored to hear you speak today. Thank you so much for gracing.
Thank
And
you.
we would also be looking forward to seeing you in the show up, because we know there were some
Definitely.
questions ahead that we still need
Definitely.
answers to as we explore this our
Yeah.
leadership identity.
Yes,
So thank you
definitely.
so much.
I said earlier on that there's a time to lead and there's a time to follow.
Yeah.
Now it's my time to
Yes.
follow Ivy. I led her 8 years, so she's going to be leading me in many, 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 ways going forward as well.
Hmm. So Ivy, you have your job
I'm
cut
so
out for
proud of
you. You
her.
need to
I'm so
start
proud.
leading Mrs. Upong back here again,
Yeah, you can
subsequently,
sure
so that
I'll
we
be here
can
next month, and I'll be here a
we can
lot.
tap into more of this
I'm
value.
sure. I see. You need to be there. Yeah. Fantastic. She speaks to my platform. We have people from most of them are in their 50s, and Ivy speaks to their heart.
Hello, Ma, you're breaking off. We can't hear you, Ma. Please, network, do not take my
Working with
shine. Oh.
Ivy.
Ma, you
Please,
are
I
in the
oh,
know
network.
network,
this
I beg,
platform is
oh.
going to really,
Ma,
really
can you hear
grow and
us?
explode.
Network
She's
took you
positioned
off.
herself for the future. So it's the right place to be. Thank
Ma,
you
can
so
you
much,
take it
Ivy.
again? Network took you off.
It's
We did not hear
breaking.
you.
It's breaking.
Can she hear
Can you
me?
hear me?
I said we did not hear
It's
you. We did not hear you.
network.
Yeah,
We can hear
network.
you
Network
now.
is breaking.
Yes, man.
Oh, okay. I think it's my
I said,
network.
could
When
you
the
please
video
say
is
what
on,
you said again?
when the video is on,
Yeah.
it breaks. So I was saying that Ivy was with me for 8 years in Lagos, and like she mentioned, I work 24 hours. Call it that. I'm up in the morning like 5:30, and I'm working till sometimes 11, 12. So working, and then she lived in she had a
Incredible worker.
accommodation. Sorry.
No, you can go on. You can go on.
I think it's still the network.
Okay, the
Or is it
network
just me?
is the
Hello.
network is still going back and forth. So we have 1 minute.
Hello.
Okay, Ma, we can hear you now. We can hear you. You're muted. Kindly unmute. Kindly unmute. You're muted. You're muted. I'm hearing someone. Okay, while we are trying to see if we can get her back, but thank you so much, everyone that took out 2 hours of their time.
Network.
Yes,
Yeah,
please,
it's
it's
a network.
network, Ma. You can go on, Ma, so we could wrap up.
Okay. I was just saying thank you. Wrap up, yeah, because of the
No, I said you
network,
can
yeah.
go on. You can go on so we could wrap up.
Oh, okay. So I was just talking about, the joy I feel to see what you're doing, and I'm so proud of you. I would say that nobody is born Ajebota or Ajepako, right? You are when you are when you are trained, you are whatever you are going through in life is training you for who you become. Whatever you go through in life is training you. If you were born in a home that they don't allow you to cook, to sweep, to dress your bed, you're going to be wimpy, right? So everything you have been through, every experience, life experience, work experience, is producing something. Is producing something in future. So Ivy, we are proud of you. I'm proud. I'm so happy to be part of this journey. I'm so happy. This is one of my joy.
Thank you so
And to
much,
be here,
Ma.
and anything I can do to ensure that this platform continues to work stronger, you know that you have my support
Thank
always.
you so
God
much, Ma.
bless you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Ma. Thank you.
everybody, for being here. Together, we will learn and grow. Right?
Yes, man.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much,
Thank you so
Ma.
much, man. Please have a
Thank you so
pleasant day.
much.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank
So,
you. Bye
yeah.
bye.
Yeah, bye, Ma. So we can all log off and have a nice weekend ahead and share what you've learned to your community, your family, your friends. Thank you, Alex. I'm trying to read everybody's name out. Thank you,
Thank
Alex.
you, Ivy.
Oh, Omalicha, thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Omalicha.
much.
Thank you, Blessing Ovobota.
Yeah, I wanted to
Thank
ask
you.
if there's going to be access to recording of this thing because
Yes, please.
first somebody needs to go back and listen again.
Yes, Alex. Once,
Honestly.
yes, there will be. Thank you. There will be. I think once Google shares it with me, I'll see how to share it out with you. Flora Noble, thank you. Henrietta Anthony, I see you. Rita Baby, I see you. Mrs. Umfon, I see you. Mr. Saraju Mohammed, I see you. Victoria Iyang, Mr. Sam, who am I missing?
Thank you. Even though I joined late, I just thought I'll
Yeah.
get the record.
Yes, I'll see how I can put it out on Building Sound Minds and also email. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice weekend ahead. According to your leader, enjoy your weekend. Bye. Mhm.